Hello, everyone, and welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
And today we're going to have a quick discussion about Panthers quarterbacks. We're going to assume here that Sam Darnold is going to miss at least 1 week. Could miss a few weeks. Matt Rule had a press conference today and said he really doesn't know anything more than he knew Sunday afternoon, that Sam's in concussion protocol. And that's really all we know at this point.
Yeah, that is all we know.
Yeah.
I mean,
so we're going to have to assume that the Panthers will have to sign a quarterback here. I mean, PJ is the only one on the roster right now that's healthy. And they can't, even if it's 1 week, they can't go into Sunday with only PJ Walker on the roster. I mean, you have to at least have a backup.
You have to have at least somebody out there that can throw the ball. I mean, I know probably a few receivers were probably quarterbacks in high school, but that's a different story than going into the NFL.
It would be irresponsible not to have a backup quarterback on the roster. Like it's going into a regular season game. Like, it would be irresponsible.
It's almost irresponsible to not have one on the practice squad. I mean, to be fair.
Although I did look at a bunch of practice squads today, and there are a lot of teams that don't have them. However, look at our quarterback situation in general. It's not great. So you would think that you would want to have somebody on the squad, but so we're going to look at some, free agent quarterbacks, some practice squad guys the Panthers could potentially nab, or I don't know if you want to look at any like current backups that we could trade for. I guess there's a couple we can mention, but
I personally don't think we're going to trade for anybody. I know that Fitterer's in on every deal, but at the same time, how many draft picks can we give up this offseason and go into this draft with just a first-round pick? I mean, I don't know what your feelings.
I agree with you. I think in this particular scenario where it's really only expected to be a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe. It's not the full season. If it was a Jameis situation where he's out for the year now,
I could easily
see 4-4. You're currently right there in the 7th seed. Then I could see
maybe trying to get something like
Gardner
Garoppolo.
Or Garoppolo or something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But for this exercise, we're not really going to talk about those bigger compensation guys. We're just going to talk about some free agents and some practice squad guys. So, elephant in the room, obviously, is Cam Newton.
Yeah,
right?
Let's go there.
If you guys, So, Jerry and I had a conversation last night on the game recap about Cam Newton, and we made a lot of points, for and against. Not so much against, but really just against the idea of signing him.
Right? I think it just brings in too much trouble for their organization. And I didn't even bring this up, but we don't know if Cam Newton would want to play with Matt Rule. He got signed, or he was here. Matt Rule was brought in. He said he was looking forward to working with Cam. And then before even practicing, they released him. So Cam Newton may have some bad feelings, and rightfully so. Do you remember how Steve Smith just wanted nothing to do with the organization of the Panthers after Gettleman's cut? So
personally, I think Cam would come back if it was the right situation. I don't know that this is the right situation because, again, it's not starter for the rest of the season. It's probably starter for a week, 1 to 3 weeks, we'll say. I do think if you're looking at the free agent quarterbacks, and we'll talk about a few more here, he is obviously the best one. He is obviously the one with the most experience. He's the one that would give the Panthers the best chance to win. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But the baggage, there's so much baggage.
You get a media circus too. I don't want to say it because he doesn't bring it on himself, but everybody hypes him up and brings him in. The cameras are all going to be there. Then when Sam Darnold comes back, you're going to have, is Cam Newton the quarterback or is Sam Darnold? Is it a quarterback controversy? And I don't think this front office wants to do that to Darnold right now. I mean, they already had the Watson issue. So
it becomes a quarterback controversy immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have a large portion of the fan base, possibly me included, that's going to say, let's just ride Cam for the rest of the year because he does give us a better chance to win than Sam Darnold. Now, if you're looking at the future of the franchise, the next 5 years, then no, I don't think Cam has that in him, unfortunately. He's got a running back's worth of wear and tear on his body. He's just not going to hold up. We've seen it over the last 4 years. He just doesn't hold up.
No.
But for a short period of time, he'd be great. It's probably not going to happen. But go listen to that podcast yesterday. It starts around 11 and a half minutes or so. It goes for about 10 minutes. And Jerry and I kind of go back and forth on it if you want more of that conversation. So let's kind of go down our list here, Jerry, and just mention a few guys and whether we think it's realistic. What do we think?
Starting off, Blake Bortles, former first-round pick for the Jaguars, took the Jaguars to the AFC Championship game about, 5 years ago? Then kind of bounced around after getting released by them and really hasn't stuck around. He's always been a very prone to turnovers. He did take them that one season. He had a decent season. That defense was great.
It was a really good season, but yeah. That's it. That's the one.
Yeah. I don't know if I would want him, but I get having him here as a quarterback for a couple patchwork games because he's been in that line of fire. Wouldn't be my first choice, though.
Yeah, he of the rest of the guys we're going to talk about, he's the one with by far the most starting experience. He, I think, would be a guy that could come in and start this week with the least amount of issues, just because he knows he is a professional quarterback. I mean, he started 73 games in his career. That's like 5-6 years of starting experience. He knows a lot of terminology, a lot of how routes are supposed to be run, things like that. He hasn't played since 2019. He didn't play at all last year. I wouldn't mind Blake Bortles, honestly, just to have a veteran quarterback in the room. Maybe even sign him to the practice squad after Sam is back, just to have him around.
Or drop PJ Walker down there and fight,
right.
Keep Blake Bortles up.
Have Bortles. And that's another thing is, PJ Walker doesn't really play the same style as Sam Darnold. And they're similar. Sam, especially in the last game, was more of a runner. PJ Walker's got some wheels and is able to make some stuff happen with his feet. PJ Walker, he's not good. I guess we should have started this conversation talking about PJ Walker because he's the one on the roster. He will start Sunday.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm almost. That. Is that what Rule has already said that he's going to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's next man up. So I mean, unless something ridiculous happens, he's going to be the guy. And he probably should be. He's in the system. He knows. He's been at practice. He knows all the guys. So, but okay. So Blake's the first guy. Ryan Finley, I've got listed here as a rookie from a couple years ago. Started 4 games for Cincinnati, I think.
Yeah, it was Cincinnati.
He is also not currently. Obviously, he's a free agent, so he's not on a roster. I just mentioned him because, again, he's got some starting experience. There was some excitement about him a little bit a couple years ago, but
no.
Again, these are just guys.
Okay, Ryan Finley, he had 3 starts in 2019. His completion percentage was 47%. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And then he started 1 game in 2020, 53% completion. I'm sorry, Ryan Finley. No.
Jerry is blackballing Ryan Finley. Okay. All right, who we got next?
We have Joe Webb, former Carolina Panther here, wide receiver, kick returner, do it all.
Jack of all trades, yeah.
I just
Taysom Hill light.
Yeah, I don't like Joe Webb's coming in. I mean, he's older now. I feel like him and PJ Walker are very similar, if that makes any sense. So I don't know why you would bring in Joe Webb. That's my opinion. If you have anything else.
No, I agree. And in my note, I put probably not realistic. And again, I was looking through this list, and you've got guys like KJ Costello, Case Cookus, Kyle Sloter, guys that no one's ever heard of. So I just try to highlight a few guys that people have actually heard of. And obviously we know Joe Webb. He's been here before. So, but yeah, I think his age and just, again, he's only started 4 games in his career, and he had kind of a long career in the NFL. So obviously probably not the way to go. The next guy here, Drew Stanton. Now he started 17 games, but he hasn't played since 2017, which I didn't realize when I first put him on this list. But I remember, I mean, I think he started against us in a playoff game once. Wasn't he in that terrible torrential downpour playoff game that you and I went to? I think that was Drew Stanton.
I don't know.
Yeah. Either way, they lost. But
I mean, he's 37 years old, so
yeah. But again, what are you looking for here?
That's a good.
You're
point.
looking for a guy to back up PJ Walker and potentially come in the second half when PJ Walker sucks in the first half.
Yeah,
that's kind of what we're looking at here. So we're not going to find any like superstars on this
list.
No. Other than Cam Newton, there's no former MVPs. There's no guys that you would feel good about starting a game.
No, I mean, you feel okay, maybe, is the best.
Yeah, there's
option.
some guys that you would feel less horrible about. Still horrible, but less horrible about.
Correct.
All right. What else we got?
We have Deshaun Kaiser, former Cleveland Brown, started 15 games, nothing since 2018, kind of has been bounced around. Now he's a free agent. There was a lot of hype around him coming into the league. He just never really panned out. Former second-round pick. He's not that old. He's still 25 years old. I wouldn't mind seeing him a little bit, but again, when he did play, he didn't play great. So another one.
He was one of those guys. Did he lose every start in that one season? Yeah. So, not a great track record. But again, he is young. He hasn't even been able to stick around as a backup. I think he went to Green Bay.
And then they drafted Jordan Love in the first round, and then last year I think he got cut because of that, and he hasn't been back in with a team since. So he may be out of shape.
Again, that's a lot of these guys could be. We don't really know the what these guys, even if they want to come back. I'm going to assume most of them would jump at a chance to make a roster, especially in this situation where they could play. I mean, it's possible. So there was a couple other guys that you had mentioned, RG3. I know he's in media right now. Go ahead.
Before there's another one, I want to talk about Jamie Newman, former Wake Forest player. He was cut. He was in the draft this year. Maybe bring him in to kind of bump him back down to the practice squad, if that's what you're looking for Carolina. Mm-hmm. He's a good project player. He had some tools to build, but to start anytime this season would not be good for him, in my opinion. So, just if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, and that's sort of what are you looking for? Like what do you, Jerry? What would be your preference to see someone brought in? Because I'm thinking somebody that can start one of the next 3 weeks.
Patrick Mahomes. No, I agree. I don't feel PJ Walker is going to be great, and that's just. Mm-hmm. From what I've seen this year, the preseason, I thought Will Grier outplayed him, but we kept PJ over. We both thought Will Grier outplayed him in the preseason, but I agree. I think we're going to need somebody to start while Sam Darnold's out. Now I want to talk about what you were going into, the retirees that we may be able to persuade to come out. I mentioned RG3. He looked pretty good. He was successful in backing up Lamar Jackson a couple times, and he looked good when he did come in. So that was one guy. And not only that, with a run-first team, I think he could help us in that type of situation.
And just real quick about RG3, I don't think he's officially retired. I think no one signed him, so he took a media job. But he did say that he would come back under the right circumstances. So RG3, it would probably be at the top of my list. If it was realistic for him, to come in. I don't think he would be a practice squad guy. So
no.
I think you would have to basically sign him for the rest of the season and tell him that when Sam comes back that he's the backup.
Yeah.
And I think I would be okay with that. I like RG3. I
Yeah, I do
thought,
too.
if he could stay healthy, he's very serviceable quarterback and has some excitement with him. Again, with the run first offense, like you said, he would be a really good choice. So I don't know how healthy he is. I don't know how much shape he's in, but that's a possibility.
Yeah. Another name on here that people would mention is Phillip Rivers, but he said he's not going to come out of retirement until his high school team is done with their playoffs and everything. So I don't see that being a realistic time.
No.
And plus, I expect him to go to a Super Bowl or at least a real contender before. Won't come out of retirement for us, I don't think.
Not for this type of situation, no. Plus,
No.
I think his wife is pregnant with their 20th and
70th?
21st children. Yeah. Like, I don't know for that for a fact, but if I had to guess, she's pregnant.
Now, the last name on this list that I want to bring up, and I would really like to bring him in, and I know it's probably never going to happen. Alex Smith. He had a great return last year. He looked good when he played, but he has that injury concern. One of my big things why I would want to bring Alex Smith in, because Patrick Mahomes still raves about how Alex Smith taught him. That he taught him how to be a pro, how to read defenses, all that. I think Sam Darnold would benefit from bringing in Alex Smith to, yes, once Sam Darnold comes back, Alex Smith would go back to the backup, which he's done multiple times and has done really well. I think it could really help Sam Darnold improve.
My understanding is that Alex Smith is retired and wants to stay retired. However, money talks, right? Tepper's got plenty of it. So if they could bring him in that capacity, that would be amazing. Again, he would probably be at the very top of my list of candidates to come in and do that. Like you said, I don't think it's realistic, just for a lot of reasons, mainly because I don't think he wants to play anymore. I think he had offers to be a backup, several spots. And honestly, Panthers, what are you doing with PJ Walker? Like, we should have drafted someone in a later round. We should have done something to just have a competent backup. PJ Walker's not good.
No,
he's just not good.
He hasn't, and he looked really bad. He looked really bad in the couple plays that he has played this year, and it's really scary if he's going to have to start. He won his last game. I keep bringing that up because I know someone's going to mention it, but his stats weren't great, and he threw a lot of interceptions in the red zone and almost threw one on Sunday this week. So
yeah, he came in, last week against the Giants, in the fourth quarter, later third quarter, whenever it was, he threw 14 passes. He completed 3 of them.
Yeah.
And that's garbage time. That's, they were down 25-3. That's garbage time, or not 25-3, but they were down a couple touchdowns at that point. He should have been able to complete some passes. There should have been openings in the middle of the field. There should have been, the defense wasn't playing real tight on these guys. There were opportunities. He was not completing passes. And then he comes in last week, yesterday, and he throws into tight coverage on the goal line. He should have thrown that ball away. First of all, a pass play should not have even been called there. But Matt Rule talked about that today. He said that PJ heard about that from him, that he did not like that throw. It truly could have cost the Panthers the game.
Yeah.
It truly could have. And that's the type of decision making that you're getting out of PJ Walker, along with he just doesn't, have pro football professional tools, in my opinion.
No, and it doesn't look like he does. I don't think he has that. He can read the defense. He doesn't have that elite player or even just a NFL type of player mentality.
Yeah.
So now let's move on to the practice squad guys, because we can sign a practice squad from another team as long as they're not protected. They can be protected, but there's a few here.
There's a couple.
The first one I mentioned that I brought up to you is Jake Fromm, Georgia quarterback, currently on the Buffalo Bills practice squad. And he may not be protected because they also have Davis Mills on their practice squad, and they have Mitchell Trubisky as their backup. So I feel like their quarterback situation is pretty good. that you might be able to sign him, but you would have to sign him to the active roster. He's a good game manager. He's not going to wow you with his arm, but I think this team could do well with a game manager.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he would be, as a football situation. He hasn't started any games. I don't even think he's taken a snap. Obviously, he's a rookie this year, right?
Second year player.
Or was that last year? Okay, so he was a rookie last year. I think he spent most of the time on the practice squad last year as well. Fourth round pick, I think I remember. Was good in college, but for some reason he just hasn't gotten any opportunities, even as the backup.
Yeah, I think it's multiple prong issue with Jake Fromm. One, he doesn't have that elite wow factor anywhere in his arsenal. I think he's just a good game manager. And then once he was drafted, there was the controversy of his racist tweets. And I think if you do bring in Jake Fromm or thinking about signing him, you have to go to the O-line, Taylor Moton cap, and all the captains and just verify they're cool with it, because nothing worse than bringing in a guy who has these issues in his past, and then the O-line doesn't like him, and then you have a Carson Wentz situation where the O-line just doesn't protect him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and he, of course, immediately apologized for all that, said that wasn't him. That was just, a stupid thing he said when he was younger, and who hasn't said something stupid when they're younger? But he is obviously in the spotlight here. That was very public. Faux pas for sure. Just a horrible thing he said. I mean, I'm not going to say faux pas. It was a terrible thing he said. But yeah, I would agree. I don't think Jake Fromm is realistic. Let's just say that. Yeah.
See, I think he is realistic, and I would like to bring him in. But again, there's so many issues, and then you have to sign him to the main roster.
He's a guy that I wouldn't mind having on the practice squad. He's a guy that I wouldn't mind trying to develop. He's not a guy that in this situation I would want to come in and start a game for us. Yeah. A guy that maybe Nick Mullins started 16 games. He had some really nice games, had some pretty bad games. I think he was with San Francisco.
Yeah.
And he's got starting experience of all these practice squad guys. I think he has the most starting experience, and almost has as much starting experience as one of the free agents we've been talking about. But he would be a guy that could come in and start. He would be a guy that could come in and play right away. So again, he's on the practice squad. I don't remember which team he's on the practice squad with.
Probably San Fran.
It could be, yeah. But he's an option. I think of the practice squad guys, he would be on the top of my list.
Yeah, I could see that. If you're expecting him to start in 2 weeks, then yes, Nick Mullins would probably be the best option of the practice squad guys.
Yeah.
A couple other names: Ben DiNucci on Dallas's practice squad. He played well in the preseason. He has some running ability.
Go watch Hard Knocks if you want to see a little more of him.
Matt Barkley, former USC quarterback. He's pretty old. It's kind of shocked he's still on a practice squad. But, I mean, with this type of situation, another guy you can bring in who has experience that probably could start a game or two and then jump back to the backup system and,
Yeah. Again, what I was kind of looking at here were just guys that had experience, So he's not a great quarterback, but he could come in and manage a game for you, I think.
Yeah. Garrett Gilbert, former Panther, is on another one. He's played well here before in Rivera's. Not sure if that's really where we want to go with it, but he's kind of older too. I think he's closer to 30. So
yeah, I guess again, we're not looking for somebody that we're gonna develop as our starting quarterback in 5 years. We're just looking for someone that can start a couple of games. And he started for Dallas, I think, last year or the year before, and had an okay game. I think I don't remember if they won or lost, but he had an okay game. And again, it's just a guy that he has some experience here in Carolina. I think having some experience playing in the stadium is something. I don't know how important it is, but it is something. Which way the wind blows. How it affects the ball inside. On the field. So that's a little something. Again, probably not the guy I would choose out of all of these, but he's a name.
Yeah.
I know. I did do a search to see if there were any Baylor or Temple free agent or practice squad quarterbacks out there because I assumed that if there were, that would be the person, but there are not.
So. Okay, good, because I don't want them. Now, real quickly before we sign off, because I have a meeting in 1 minute, so who would be your top choice to bring on?
I mean, of the realistic guys, I would probably go with Blake Bortles just to come in and start a couple of games.
Yeah,
that would be my guy.
I'm gonna stick with calling Alex Smith. First, I would call Alex Smith, see if he wants to come in and work it out. But if not, yeah, I think Blake Bortles would probably be the guy to go with.
Yeah.
If you're looking at starting, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I think Cam Newton obviously would be my main choice, but a realistic choice, I think you go Blake Bortles. So
yeah.
All right, I think that's going to do it.
All right. We want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. If you leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We'll read it on the show. Please like and subscribe on YouTube.
We'll be back if they do sign someone. If not, then we'll be back on Friday with our preview for New England, Carolina. Be safe and keep pounding.